Alright fellas, this is something that I've talked about over on Twitter before that I haven't really ever made a video about or anything like that. That's generally just because the situation itself has never really provided enough for an entire video, but I think that we're finally there. I think that throughout my months and months of talking about this subject over on Twitter, very occasionally that enough has finally built up for me to actually talk about this on a bigger scale. And this is just another one of these communities on Twitter. There's a bunch of communities on Twitter where people just act like they're better than everybody else. That's basically what Twitter has devolved to. It's completely ridiculous. It's such a toxic platform to be on. But I mean, this one, while toxic, isn't toxic as some of the other groups. You know what I'm saying? It's not really on that level. But I think this is just more ridiculous because it's a bunch of people pretending that they're things that they're not. I like to call them fake CEO Twitter, or can't do the 9-to-5 Twitter, okay? These people pretend like they're some sort of Elon Musk business magnate, or they're like the next Bill Gates. They're just Jeff Bezos in training, something like that, right? Just no functioning concept whatsoever of economics, of virtually anything that has to do with starting and running a business. They don't know how to actually conceptualize and build a brand. They have no idea about any of that, but they're entrepreneurs. That's what they are. They're entrepreneurs. Now, the actual definition of the word entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. Or a promoter in the entertainment industry. People on Twitter think that this is what they are. They think that they're taking on greater than normal financial risk, and they think that they're operating businesses or something. Now, there's something called drop shipping, which honestly, to a certain point, I respect drop shipping, right? Because it's a very easy and fast way to build a lot of money up if you actually understand how it works. But just because you do this, just because you create a Shopify store and start drop shipping through Oberlo or another application, does not make you an entrepreneur. Now here's why. In drop shipping, essentially what it is when you create a drop shipping business, you make a storefront, okay? And then you get in contact with people who make a product. And instead of them giving their product directly to the consumer and getting the money directly handed to them, you now put their products on your storefront, people buy it from your storefront, and then you split the money with the company and the order goes to them and they send the product directly to the customer. So people who run a drop shipping business do not have to handle inventory, which gets to a point where the cost is astronomical. They don't deal with having maybe a physical storefront because drop shipping traditionally does not require a traditional brick and mortar store. The only real cost and maintenance of a company that comes from drop shipping is the fees attached to having the website, aka paying for the domain and its protection, having a storefront through a certified place like Shopify, and then marketing on Facebook and Google Ads. Those are the only costs. So you're not an entrepreneur because you are selling products for someone else and getting a cut. You're an entrepreneur if you have an idea and you put all of your money into this idea and actually try and get a return from it. Now, with that being established, there's this group of people on Twitter, and it seems like they're ever growing, who just pretend that they know a lot about making money, and they don't. And that's okay. I'm not going to try and flex, I'm not trying to flex in this video, right? I'm just explaining how I am, right? What I do, okay? If that makes sense. I mean, to a certain extent, I can understand, but me personally, I have the YouTube channel, right? I'm doing it right now, making YouTube videos and whatnot. This is one of the multiple ways that I make money. So I have the YouTube channel, and then I have my Twitch, which is a little inactive, to be honest, and my other YouTube channel, once again, pretty inactive, but I do make some sort of money from those. Nothing crazy or anything, but I make money from those as well. Then, I also trade on the stock market, and I'm also learning about Forex trading because I want to get into that. So, I do pretty well for myself. I think that's a good way to put it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, bro, I make $450,000 a month, because that's the stupid shit that people on Twitter here do. So, I have a pretty decent economic understanding. I have multiple sources of income. I've set that kind of thing up for myself. But you have these people on Twitter who make $1,500 a month, I don't know, doing something, right? And They don't really put any money into it or anything, and they just think that they're all of a sudden business magnets or something like that, right? A big point with this group of people is they distrust the 9-to-5 system. Now, most people who work regular jobs, they work like a 9-to-5, right? You know, they go to work in the morning, come home in the afternoon/evening. That's just how it is. Or if they have different shifts, you know, they still pretty much work the same amount of time and whatnot, but they kind of like look down upon and preach down upon people who have 9-to-5 jobs. I don't know how y'all do that 9-to-5 shit. Probably because that's their main source of income. If they don't do their 9-to-5 job, they're not going to pay their bills. At the same time, these are the people who make $800 a month selling fucking lotion or something on the internet from another company, probably make less than the people doing the 9-to-5 job, and then yet they're talking down on them because they quote-unquote create their own schedule. Now here's the thing I get sick and tired of hearing. They pretend like just because you have a 9-to-5 job, you can't be, you know, an entrepreneur, and you can't have time outside of work to pursue other options and things. First off, just because you're employed by someone else doesn't mean that you don't have the time or the will or the drive to do other things. I was doing YouTube while working part-time at a pizza place, okay? It's not like having a job hinders you from doing these things. For some people, they just simply don't want to do it, and that's completely acceptable. They pretend that just because they wake up early because they saw some Tumblr post that said Jeff Bezos gets up at 4:30 in the morning, they think that just because they're doing that, that makes them like Jeff Bezos, when there's an obvious difference between them. Pretending like to create a successful business, you have to essentially get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every single day, do 47 push-ups because Jeff Bezos does that. Click buttons on the computer for 3 hours because that's how economics works, is complete bullshit. Anyone can do anything they want if they have the opportunity. Sometimes it comes down to creating your own opportunity for yourself, but everyone, at least, well, like generally speaking in the United States, gets this kind of opportunity. Whether it passes them by or not, that's up for them to get to, you know what I mean? But to pretend that just because, you know, you do all these things, that you can't work a 9-to-5 is ridiculous, because 85% of you will be right back to working a 9-to-5 within 3 years. Actually, let me look up the official statistic. Okay, so 20% of new businesses fail in the first year, and 50% of them only survive through their 5th year. So you basically got a 20% chance of having this whole thing last a year for you, and you only have really a 50-50 shot of even making it 5 years. But it doesn't matter, right? You're business magnets, okay? Now, let's take a look at this video that I think is very interesting and proves my point to a certain extent.
He can't have a 9-to-5.
What? Why not? You don't want him to have an honest job?
I mean, he could be a hustling entrepreneur.
So you want him to be you want CEO status?
Yes.
Okay, he can't
so
like, he can't clock in and clock out.
No. No.
Damn,
I think
Simone.
entrepreneurs should date entrepreneurs.
Okay, but still, there's people who have really good jobs with vocational skills. If he's a mechanic,
I'm sure, but no, you're not gonna understand my lifestyle. You're not gonna understand why I'm up at 3 a.m.
Damn, you're making this hard for me. Okay, all right.
You know, he has to be an entrepreneur,
a business owner. He getting one of them stimulus packages from Donald Trump, one of them small business loans, and he ain't buying jewelry with it.
Or moving into that direction.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, first off, we've all seen who this girl is, right? She's no crazy prize or anything like that, so the fact that her expectations are so astronomically fucking stupidly high is nuts in the first place, right? He can't have a 9-to-5 job. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I know so many people who have like a 9-to-5 job. Their jobs are unionized, they have health benefits, they get their 401ks matched, they make good money doing 9-to-5s. How many of these Twitter entrepreneurs that have zero idea about the economy whatsoever, probably not even understanding basic supply and demand, do you think are matching their 401ks or even have a 401k in the first place? How many of them do you think touch the stock market? How many of them do you think make more than $5,000 before their businesses just completely fall apart in the first place? How many of them do you think make a reputable income per year that is actually worth not having a 9-to-5 job? Because as someone who actually created pretty much all of his own income, I can tell you that just because you're not working a 9-to-5 doesn't mean that you're going to basically fall into this kind of career path. As someone who actually does this for real, okay, I'm here to tell you that just because somebody on Twitter says, bro, I can't do that 9-to-5 shit, doesn't mean that they really are doing something. I respect Gary Vaynerchuk a lot, okay? I agree with a lot of what he has to say, but people just watch him and immediately fucking think that they just have everything figured out. And it's crazy because I'm sure he doesn't want to have that reputation as someone where, like, if you watch him, you basically just become the biggest eco-douche of all time because you have no idea about the economy, but because you watched a hype-up video from Gary Vee, basically now you think that you're some sort of Bill Gates. I understand it's such a ridiculous point, but I feel like it's one that needs to be made because I'm so tired of seeing this. These people have net worths of like $5,000 and they want to preach to everybody about how much of an entrepreneur and how much of like this fucking big shot they are because they're making money now. Like, it's so ridiculous, and I don't even understand the concept in the first place because the truth is people who make real money, you know what I'm saying? People who really pull that shit in are never getting on Nick Cannon's show and telling everybody that they can't date someone who has a 9-to-5. And something I also want to throw into consider, this woman is going to just completely just shutter men who have 9-to-5s, right? Because they're not entrepreneurial minded and whatnot, okay? How quickly do you think her attitude would change if she found somebody making $100,000 a month? Let's be honest, fellas. If she met somebody pulling in $1 million plus a year, do you think that all of a sudden she would be entrepreneurial minded? If he was like, nope, I want you to work a 9-to-5, she would be in a fucking office desk somewhere, pressing buttons on a keyboard for someone else. That's just how it is. I've seen Twitter CEOs come and go. I really have. And they've done all kinds of different things. They think that they're solving market crises when they're not. Buddy, just because you sold 200 phone chargers for $3 a piece in the last 8 months does not make you a Twitter CEO. If you're not making more than people who are working honest 9-to-5 jobs doing this, please shut the fuck up. And once again, I get that this is such a weird complaint, right? Like, none of this makes sense on paper. Like, Optimus, why do you care so much? Because I'm tired of seeing people who work honest jobs be shit on by these idiots on Twitter that know nothing. I like to think that I have a very good work ethic. I never used to. Do you think I was inspired by the people to, on Twitter talking about how much money they have? No, they did nothing for me. You know who really did something for me? All the people in my life who I know who worked 9-to-5 jobs. All the people who I know busted their ass for an honest paycheck, regardless of what they were doing. I know people who build trucks. I know people who package shit for Amazon. I've known people who wiped old people's asses in nursing homes. I know people who work in fast food, and I gotta tell you, they're all much better people than these faux CEO Twitter magnates that have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Even if these Twitter people make more money than them, their personalities are complete garbage. And in reality, they know nothing, okay? Maybe they do make a lot of money doing one method, but having one source of income does not make you a Twitter CEO, sorry to tell you. Like I said, if you're not making more than someone who works an honest 9-to-5 and has benefits, who works 40 plus hours a week, please shut the fuck up and stop talking. Because all you do, number one, you make everyone else around you look like a complete fool. And number two, you make people who are actually about grinding and about making money look like complete fucking idiots. Because they get lumped in with you. That's just what it comes down to for me. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below for the freshest officialist Optimus merch. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. So sick and tired of Twitter CEOs. And signing out.